So this is a revised list of the harmful and potentially harmful constituents. So I'm going to go over it just out today. So it's from the Food and Drug Administration's website, harmful and potentially harmful constituents in tobacco products and tobacco smoke, established list. Now this is how it did read, and then I'm going to show you how it's going to read after they go through this whole notice and comment period. So this is the old list, okay? And so this is the old list, mainly to do with tobacco products, but also has to do with tobacco smoke, and that is combustible cigarettes, cigars, and stuff like that. But it also is tobacco products, which is also electronic cigarettes or vapor products. And then they update it. I'll show you that in a moment. But this is the list. This is all the chemicals that they must test in the lab when they do their PMTAs. This here, don't mix it up with benzoic acid. It's different. All these chemicals that you're seeing are either potentially cancerous or cancerous in nature, or it can have respiratory tract irritation, brain problems, pregnancy problems, things of that nature, like formaldehyde. They're going to definitely be testing for. They have to test for all of this in the labs, and then the Food and Drug Administration, not only with the entities that they contract out to, will test it when they get the submissions, but also the Food and Drug Administration will also do their own testing as well. Yeah, interesting. In combustible cigarettes, they actually put uranium in there. You could blow up your head, I guess. So that was that list. That was the old list. Okay, and they break it down for you, like AD is addictive, RDTA is reproductive or developmental toxicant. Like well, formaldehyde, it is CA and RT, so that is carcinogen. So formaldehyde can cause cancer, and RT is respiratory toxicant. Now, this is the new one that they have out now called harmful and potentially harmful constituents in tobacco products and tobacco smoke, established list. This is April 2012, and you need to submit your comments before October 4th of 2019. It says FDA seeks public input on 19 proposed additions to the tobacco harmful and potentially harmful constituents established list, as well as new Hphc determining criterion, and I'll show you that in a moment. But this is the established list where the mouse is at is right here, what I just showed you. So they're adding 19 more additions or chemicals to it. So the established official list is 93 HPHCs, which is even longer than this, what I showed you. And I mean, I could do a follow-up on this if you want me to do the whole 93 HPHCs. But this is the 19 other chemicals that manufacturers, especially e-liquids, will have to test for, as well as the Food and Drug Administration, who they contract out to, as well as the Food and Drug Administration itself. So they're adding all of this stuff here. These are known cancer-causing chemicals or respiratory toxicants, cardiovascular toxicant, reproductive or developmental toxicant, or addictive. So just go down the list. I'm not going to name these things off. But they say potentially this will be in e-liquids. They're either potentially in e-liquids or they are in e-liquids. And they need to be, every single chemical will need to be tested for in e-liquids. Once again, this is not benzoic acid. Even though benzoic acid has a molecule in it that is a benzene, but benzene itself is not benzoic acid like nicotine salt. That's already in the Family Smoking Prevention Tobacco Control Act. Nicotine salts have to be tested, of course. It's an interesting one in here they just added. And get down to it. Okay. So this is what they have to test for. Now let me switch the page. So this is in the Federal Register right now, and then on August 5th of 2019, it'll officially be published. Right now it's in the unpublished version, but this is just like when they did the FDA final rule in regards to vaping. Understand? It goes on to the Food and Drug Administration website, but until it actually goes into the Federal Register and is published, it is not official. It does not take effect. Anyway, so you see it's the harmful and potentially harmful constituents in tobacco products established list, proposed additions, okay? And they're requesting comments by, I think, what was it, October by October 4th of 2019. And you're going to see some very interesting different types of chemicals that they're looking for in e-liquids especially. So let's go down a little bit. I'm talking about the deeming products. So it says they have to do sub-brand and brand. Okay. So here we go. We're talking about the Tobacco Control Act in regards to the Hphc established list. Since then, however, the FDA's tobacco product authorities were extended under the deeming rule to all products, including components and parts, but excluding accessories of deemed products that meet the statutory definition of tobacco product, including electronic nicotine delivery systems, ENDS, and that's vapor products. And this is going to be rather interesting, what you're going to see here. So FDA has tentatively concluded that in revising the HPHC established list, the agency should continue to apply the criteria that were originally applied when determining whether constituents should be put on the list. And these are the new chemicals that they are looking for, which is a byproduct of glycerol, a common component in e-liquids. It says glycidol can form and appear in the aerosol when a glycerol-containing solvent, such as an e-liquid, is heated and aerosol is produced. They're going to be looking for that. This especially they're going to be looking for. This is a cancer-causing agent. Definitely be looking for that. And it's a reproductive toxicant based on its developmental toxicity. Also, in a moment, you'll see propylene glycol. They're actually going to have that in the list. PG. As we know, PG is in the e-liquids. And what it is, it's a respiratory irritation, stuff like that. So how this can cause harm is adverse respiratory effects. Here you go. So they are these particular ones that they are adding. These are the new ones. Acetone, diacetyl. They're adding diacetyl. That's a popular one. They're also adding the PG, propylene glycol, because it is can have human health hazards and respiratory disease from inhalation exposures to toxicants. And then they break it down. This is a biggie right here. This is a cancer-causing type of chemical. And this here, this DEG, is what they're mainly looking for, which is this here. It says acute health consequences from exposure to DEG contaminated products may be serious and irreversible. Poisoning because of DEG is not a common occurrence. Most of the documented cases of illness and death from DEG poisoning have been outbreaks where DEG was submitted in pharmaceutical preparations for the glycols or glycerin constituents customarily used. It says toxicity can result from ingestion or dermal exposure to DEG contaminated products. So they're going to be looking for that particular chemical in these e-liquids. It says suppliers of glycerol and propylene glycol can dilute them with DEG, and manufacturers unaware of the added DEG can use a contaminated glycerol or propylene glycol in tobacco products. And if that's the case, they're going to reject that particular e-liquid. It goes on and on a little bit more. So here is the new list here. This is a new list. So you have respiratory toxicant. A lot of these are respiratory toxicant. You've got poisonous chemical. This here is a poisonous chemical. That's what I just was reading. The DEG is they classify that as a poisonous chemical. That may be in your e-liquids. Don't know. You won't know until it's tested. That's why I've always said, and I always will, until these particular e-liquids go through PMTAs, you can't say they're safe. You can't say they're harmless. You can't say they're a better alternative. You can't say they're smoking cessation. You can't prove that. I've always said, who knows? Maybe the e-liquid I'm vaping on, as well as others, are killing us, and we don't even know it. And it takes years for someone to get cancer by smoking combustible cigarettes. It might take a decade or 2 decades, probably 3 decades, before you die of e-liquids. So they want to make sure that these particular chemicals are not in these particular products, and especially this. Like it says, it's PC, which is a poisonous chemical. And normally, this is with PG. Who knows? All this PG we're vaping could be very well be poison. Now, I don't want to scare you guys out there. I want you to keep it real with you. But like I said, who knows? Maybe this e-liquid's killing us and we don't even know it. You won't know until it's tested. And then they have So they have all this, and they have diacetyl. Diacetyl is usually in vanilla, very creamy vapes, things of that nature, and that is a respiratory toxicant. And if there's any diacetyl in any of these vapes, the PMTAs will be rejected, or the submission will be rejected. So if they find these chemicals in our e-liquids, we're in trouble. The funny thing about propylene glycol is when it's combined with this, when this is combined with this, it will be rejected, the submission. On the other hand, if this is not combined with this, then there's a possibility it may be approved, unless there's other constituents or flavors in that e-liquid that is on the list. Now, this one here, glycidol, is a CA, which is actually a carcinogen. And this is the reason why they've been doing all these studies over the last few years on e-liquids. And I've been trying to put up as many as possible so you're aware of what very well will happen to us in the future. And this is a perfect example of what can very well happen. Any of these e-liquids that are submitted to the FDA through the PMTA process will need to make sure that these chemicals are not in that e-liquid. Now, like I said, the PG and this is together. This is just a respiratory toxicant, but it's not a poisonous chemical. But if this poisonous chemical is in the PG, it's going to be automatically rejected by the FDA. So that's pretty much it. I just want to show you that. See, and like it says having adverse effects that are relevant to cancer, cardiovascular, respiratory, developmental, or reproductive effects. This is what they're looking for in these e-liquids. As I vape number 24 of the Beard Vape Company, I don't know what's in this e-liquid. It could be killing me as I speak. I don't know. It can make, I do get phlegm and mucus in my throat. It builds up over time, and then I always have to not hack, but I cough it. I'm coughing, not really coughing, but I'm like clearing my throat. And that's because of e-liquids. But I don't fool myself. A lot of you guys do out there. So anyway, that's pretty much it there. But yeah, these chemicals here, there's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. These are the chemicals that are going to be added after October 4th of 2019 to that other list that I showed you, our partial list of the 93 HPHCs. So I just want to give you guys an update on what's going on here. Guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.